getting to the conclusion, I was thinking I don't have the pretension to draw some kind of synthesis or general conclusion, because those 2 days have been so fruitful and rich that obviously this will need much more. But still, I wanted just to take some key messages which I think come out of this conference and which can a little bit serve as a kind of framework for the development of preschool and expansion in the country. So I think the first thing which came very clearly through all the presentation is the importance of the first years of life. I think there's no doubt about it. We have a number of pictures of brain. It started with a presentation of Dr. Emily Vargas, who was showing us and giving all the scientific evidence, and then it came out in different presentations. That's definitely, I think, one key message which comes out of it. Another one, I would say, it's the importance of access and inclusion of all children. And I want to use a quote from Ulf Jansson when he said, when you face an obstacle, the solution is not to take the child away, but to change the system. And this really summarizes the fact that we are talking about systems which need to be inclusive up from the first day. And it's not enough just to include in the system the children who have some kind of difficulties, but really to have a system which is adapted to it. In that same, as part of the same block, we could see our French representative from the French government telling us that in preschool, parents tend to be have less tendency to segregate children. And I think this is also a very important message. And when we think about this country, I think that working on inclusive or really inclusive preschool gives us the opportunity to work against segregation, to really promote inclusion from the beginning. Then we talk about peace-building education, which has also to do with it. So building peace-building in this accessible and inclusive education, as Mrs. Elvira Sanchez also showed us. A second key message, I think, is about, came also very clearly, access and inclusion goes with quality. And here I want to quote Dr. Pierre Bellobriti when she said, quality is a key ingredient and it's not a luxury. So quality, and it came very strongly in a number of presentations. We could see where step by step, Unicef, about the importance of having monitoring system in place. Then we had a presentation also from Mensa this morning about how games and different activities can influence and are so important to be taken into account in the activities that we develop. So the question of quality from the first day, it's not just having a structure where we can include the children, but having it with quality. A third key message, I think, it's a lack of funds cannot be used as an excuse. And this was even mentioned by the Minister of Civil Affairs, who used this quote. And it's very clear that the fact that we say very often, yes, there is a lack of funds, it cannot be used as an excuse. And this for different reasons. I think the first reason that I would mention here is that, as we saw again against all the presentation, it's the best investment, and that's the best return that you can get. And also there are ways of controlling costs. There was a presentation from Jan van Ravens, for example, who was showing us that we can think of different models, that we are in a country where the number of children is decreasing, so there is a potential to use the teachers and the facilities providing the adequate training, but to use the resources that we have in place to respond to the needs of preschool. So definitely lack of resources is not an excuse. And then I said, I thought it was very interesting, the Minister of Civil Affairs themselves mentioned this, so it also goes with political will here. Need for a fourth message, I would say, need for innovative programs with a combination of community-based services, of more traditional kindergarten. We saw the French example, which is on one extreme, so kindergarten 100% in a very strong system in that sense. We saw today a number of examples from Turkey, from Moldova, from Lithuania, on community-based services which are being developed. We saw experiences in Bosnia and Herzegovina from SOS Children Village. We saw them from the kindergarten who presented experience from Save the Children, and you know the centers that are being developed in different municipalities. So I think what also comes out, since we are in Bosnia and Herzegovina at a situation where access is extremely limited, as we were saying at 10%, so basically everything has to be done. It's important to have innovation, and so to have a legal framework which also allows a flexibility and innovation to give the room for different kind of models which go from the centers that we have been implemented in different municipalities already to kindergarten. So having this innovation, I think, is important as well. What goes also with it, but I would put in a fifth message, is that what comes very clearly, it's in any case, we can link to quality some quality pillars. For example, came from different presentation. 1 year is not enough, because if you do 1 year, then you might just do the same thing, just you do it a bit before and you end up doing something similar. While this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about specific services which respond to specific needs. So it has to be more than 1 year. So I think this came out as an important conclusion. It has to be continuous programs. It was said 4 or 5 days, 3-4 hours a day, not necessarily a whole day as it was demonstrated. So it's really the need to go beyond what you would see as education in a restrictive way, and really including parenting and a much more comprehensive approach. And finally, importance of raising awareness. I think this was mentioned also by different people. This conference is part of it, and I think actually this is fantastic group. It has been really a pleasure to be with us and to be all together doing these 2 days. And this is a fantastic group where you see such a strong commitment. And so the role, I think each of us, we now have a role to continue to advocate, each of us with our environment, in our community, in our municipality, with international, with high-level government, with whatever, all the levels, professional and so on. Because it's really the necessity to raise awareness about the importance of early childhood development and the importance of developing those programs. So I think, just to conclude, I would say that overall there is a clear call which is coming out, and extremely strong. I mean, we're all here. All the chairs from the tables were people also from the government, so I think strong commitment. We have people from the community, people from the school. So I think it's really a strong commitment. We had yesterday like 10 embassies, international organizations present yesterday morning, which is also important. We have experts coming from different countries. So I think this creates a critical mass, and I would like to invite you that we really remain in contact, that each of us plays a role in this. Now, talking about the next steps, based on what was coming out, we will set up a document based with all the recommendations which are coming out, also thanking the groups. I think there's a lot of very useful recommendations here with the key message. And this will be a document which will be shared obviously with all of you, but also with government, and which can be used. We're thinking of the Association of Municipalities, for example, which are also important partners, so and really all partners that can be involved. Then, as we were saying on the first day, we have been recording all the presentations, so we'll have now to see how we make them available to everybody, and also to the people who wanted to be here and could not be here because of the condition, and to other partners, etc. So, I think this would be the next step. I would like to thank you again for the presentation, the fact that you were here, for your participation coming from far away, thanking all our international experts. That also shows a very strong commitment. I would like some additional thank you to the media communication with the agency who has been organizing and taking care of all the logistic and everything. The interpreters who are there in the back, we don't see them, but I think they're always here and making sure that the right message comes. I would like to thank them as well. And I would like to say a special thank you to the Unicef team. I don't do that too much in public, but I think in this case, and as in other many cases, there's been really so much energy put into it. So I would like to thank the UNICEF team as well. And thank you to all of you, and I think Sanya is going to do the closing. Thank you. Bauer.